I'm proud of the fact that I've never accepted a check from a government other than a tax return of my own money. I've never in my life worked for state or local government. I've never spent any time in Washington, D.C. I'm anti-establishment, I'm anti-status quo, I'm anti-DC insider, and most importantly, I am just an anti-politician. Let me tell you some good news from the campaign. Number one, 6% in the zombie polls. That's certainly great news. And the campaign has just barely begun. Number two, we promised you, Bob Barr and I both separately, we were running for president, promised you, each of us at different times said, we will get more media, more exposure for this party than any of the candidates ever before combined. Bob Barr has lived on national TV for the last 4 weeks. Whether it was George Stephanopoulos on Sunday morning, whether it was Chris Wallace on Fox News on Sunday morning, whether it was Glenn Beck on CNN 3 times in 3 weeks, whether it was the Colbert Report, whether it was the cover of the New York Times, or whether it's Time Magazine's brand new story out today with guess who on the cover? Nelson Mandela on the cover, I'm very proud to say, with our story inside. What does Nelson Mandela stand for? Freedom. What does Bob Barr and Wayne Root stand for? Freedom. It's no coincidence, I don't believe. And so we've gotten you non-stop publicity. Now the question is, what do we do with it? Our belief is that we can actually, let's set aside again winning the election. We can win, or come close to winning, or determine who wins the election in many states around the country. Let me give you a list of just a few of the ones where we actually think we can win. Alaska, Nevada, Wyoming, Montana, Indiana, Colorado, New Mexico. The Mountain West has a streak, I call it a Barry Goldwater streak, of rugged individualism. They want lower taxes and they want to be left alone by government. We actually have a chance to be the first libertarian team that could win a state. There's a lot of things happening that are different for this party, but it's just a very small beginning. Baby steps, as I call it. Let's talk about the issues. On all these 100 talk radio stations, I talk about issues and then I take phone calls. And I got to tell you, politics is show business. It's sales. That's all it is. Selling your beliefs. I like to talk from the right and from the left, an example of how important salesmanship is. Barry Goldwater is where this party started. This party started with Barry Goldwater disciples who were sick of the Republican Party being too liberal and wanted to follow their hero, Barry Goldwater. That's where I come from. How many people in this room love Barry Goldwater and have read Conscience of a Conservative? Is this crowd a Barry Goldwater crowd? It's not. Amazing. The last crowd I was at in Columbia was everyone in the room raised their hand. That's the start of this party. Barry Goldwater had a great message. Barry Goldwater lost in a landslide with that great message. Ronald Reagan took the exact same message and he won in 2 landslides. Didn't change a word. He won in 2 landslides. From the left, George McGovern had a liberal message that was a complete failure. He lost in a landslide. Then Barack Obama took the same message. He's winning in all the national polls. The only difference is the way he delivers the message. Barack Obama, a fantastic communicator and a great salesman. So salesmanship matters. I like to use the example of the U.S. Army. The Libertarian Party has never used this example of selling what's positive that people like. When the U.S. Army puts an ad out there, how many of you have seen U.S. Army ads? They show guys in a tank having a great time. They don't show the sad reality of a guy with no legs coming back from Vietnam. They don't show what it looks like when 4 guys melt, literally burned to death inside that tank when it gets hit by a roadside bomb. They don't show that because they wouldn't recruit anybody if they showed that. But see, they're not lying and they're not being fraudulent. They're taking their best thing, they're looking at the glass as half full, and they're showing you the best part about being in the Army. They keep away from the worst part. We've got issues that divide the American people. The key is to talk about the ones that unite the American people. Barack Obama is great at that, by the way. You notice Barack Obama is now going back and everything he ever said, he's doing a little double talk, and he's telling everybody all the things he thinks they want to hear. Well, that's not what I do, I'm very honest. I just stick with the issues where I know the American public's on my side. And here's the deal that should make you feel good if you're a candidate. I've been on 100 radio programs, and I haven't had 1 negative caller. It's almost a miracle. Not one person has ever called in on talk radio in this country and said, Wayne Root, I heard what you just said, and I don't like it, or I hate it, or you're wrong. Not one. As a matter of fact, typically what they say is, wow, I've been waiting for someone like you my entire life. Where the hell have you been? That's what people say all over the country. Here are the issues that resonate, that we have agreement with the American people. No problems. Number 1, the economy. Parade magazine asked the readers of their magazine, which is America's Sunday magazine, every paper in America, What's the #1 issue for the next president? And 91% said the economy. It's that simple. We win on the economy. I bring up the Nevada model again and again and again. I'm for the state of Nevada. We have no state income tax. We have no business income tax. We have no inheritance tax. We have very low property taxes that are limited by law to 3% increase per year. If our house goes up 50% a year, they can only increase our property taxes 3%. And we have legalized gambling. You know what that means? We have freedom. We have choice. And some of the things that we tax, like legalized gambling, allow us to pay very few taxes. So that's the beauty of freedom in the state of Nevada, and that's a message I'd like to bring Nevada's model to the entire United States of America. The second part of Nevada's model, we have a citizen legislature. You know, the more these guys and gals are in office, the more damage they do to all of us. So you want to limit the time politicians get to produce laws. All they do is damage you. So in Nevada, our legislature only serves 2 months every 2 years. It's no coincidence that we have low taxes. Here's a little study I think you'll all enjoy, those of you who are candidates. One of my buddies runs a hedge fund. It's called the Congressional Effect Fund. It backs up everything I've ever said and known my entire life, but it gives you a fact. A few minutes ago, I heard said facts aren't important. I like to appeal at an emotional level, a passionate level, but then I back it up with a fact. And that's how you close the deal. And so the Congressional Effect Fund proves my point. Over the last 50 years, 5-0, when Congress is in session, the stock market is up 1%. When Congress isn't in session, it's up 17.6%. All they do is damage the American people and damage the American economy, and therefore the Libertarian model works. If Bob, Barr, and I are elected to office, I promise you we will cut taxes, we will cut government, we will increase freedom, and on a worst-case scenario, because every radio host in America asks me this question, if you're going to be out there all alone as Libertarians, and there's all Republicans and Democrats, how are you going to get anything done? And my answer just blows them away, and then I win them all over. My answer is, well, in a worst-case scenario, guess what? The best thing we could do is make sure nothing gets done. We're going to create complete gridlock. Every single bill that raises taxes, we will veto it. Every bill that raises spending, we will veto it. And every bill that does damage to the Constitution that is not authorized by the United States Constitution, we will veto it. And we will create gridlock, and deficit will go down, and your taxes will go down, and the size of government will go down. That's the worst-case scenario. So we talk about the economy, and by the way, let me tell you what just happened in Nevada. It's another great example that Bob and I can accomplish this. In Nevada, despite the fact that we have this great economy, we have all these low taxes, just like you, just like everywhere in America, there's a recession going on. By the way, don't believe anything the government tells you, they'll lie. There's a recession going on. And in Nevada, they all said it was recession-proof. It's not. All of a sudden, for the first time ever, Las Vegas has financial problems, and we have a $1 billion budget deficit. A $1 billion budget deficit. So what did all the Democrats in Nevada say? Well, we got to raise taxes by $1 billion. What did the governor of Nevada say? Isn't going to happen on my watch. I will veto every single bill that raises $1. If you bring me $1 less than $1 billion in budget cuts, plus $1 in tax increase, I'll veto the bill. And guess what happened? They sat down, Democrats and Republicans, and in 12 hours they eliminated a $1 billion budget deficit by cutting $1 billion off the budget. Not $1 tax increase.